And Sheets, as we sort of thought might happen, we definitely got some news. For those of you who haven't been paying attention all day, no Jokic, no Aaron Gordon. So it's going to make all the value on Denver. And that's going to be a mega chalk situation. And there's a lot of ways we can approach it, but just wanted to start off with that. We also have no Markkanen, which is with Utah, it's a little trickier because you really are sort of still guessing to some extent. But it does boost everybody who we might have considered, like Olynyk, Kessler, John Collins, Keontae George, but nobody who really stood out for me. That's what my first take was.
And the other dude, the guy with the funny name, also the Fontecchio.
Fontecchio, yeah. If you need it, you know what I mean? Like if you needed it, you don't want to use one of the Denver cheapies, you know.
Well, one of the things that people are going to ask, I guess, like right off the bat, is how many Nuggets can I play in like one lineup? Yeah. So I mean, I did some runs, whatever it is. I got a bunch with 6.
Wow.
Yeah, 6? Yeah. I got some with 6, some with 5, some with 4, but I don't think any with less than 4. No, I'm trying to just scroll through. No, I think everyone I have, and I built 50 for now, everyone's got at least 4. I'll have to see if I no, I can't. I don't have any with less than 4. So that's kind of just so much usage. I mean, like it's ridiculous, you know. So
yeah,
and you play. I want to make it so easy, you know what I mean? Like it's obviously it's going to be difficult to win, but now like you can play Embiid with complete impunity. Not to mention LeBron, if you want to try that, or Davis. I mean, or both of them. You know what I mean? Like, it becomes a very easy slate to play lineups. But like, I guess you were going to get into how do you want to get different? You know, how do you want to do something else? You know, any thoughts?
Yeah. So, well, the one thing I would say is that I think that there are routes where, I mean, they have 10 guys who are available. They're not like, you know, the Reggie Jackson and Michael Porter. You also have Reggie Jackson going back to the Clippers, which I already sort of liked him as a play anyway. So now he's the one. The tough ones for me to fade are, well, Jackson and Michael Porter Jr. But the problem is everybody else, I feel like there's extremely high volatility with. There is no reason DeAndre Jordan has to start or play significant minutes if we know he even can, because they can play Zeke Nnaji and you don't need to play big against this team. Peyton Watson's probable, and he's sort of being like lower projected, as is Julian Strawther, but those guys could easily be in there ahead of, not necessarily starting, but probably could play more and definitely would be more productive per minute than Justin Holiday and DeAndre Jordan. So it's not like a real easy situation, especially with the game starting so late and we won't have a starting lineup. We're speculating that DeAndre Jordan will start, and based on the minutes recently, that makes some sense. But do you have what, 39 million year old DeAndre Jordan on a back-to-back? He only played 14. He only played 12 minutes, but or will they just let Zeke Nnaji start, which is completely possible, but he's 5,200 on DraftKings. He's 39 on FanDuel. I would play Zeke Nnaji on FanDuel way ahead of DeAndre Jordan. If Zeke Nnaji was 4K, I probably would have him and just probably say F it with Jordan, or even consider possibly playing them both, but probably not. I just think that there's a lot of flimsy. I mean, we know Justin Holiday can play 40 minutes and do nothing. We've been through this before. Christian Braun, we love, but they sort of keep him in that tight minute window, except for every now and then. So it's a little tricky outside of Jackson and Michael Porter Jr. to see exactly how to play it. I don't think and KCP is probably one guy who doesn't really get like a major boost. Yeah, there's more usage to go around, but like, it's not like an incredible boost to him to not have a guy who sets him up for all of his open threes. So it's just a little bit tricky to try and figure it out. That's why I only have Jackson and Porter as the sort of the must plays for me. I don't see DeAndre Jordan as a must play, but I do think that it's going to be 70% owned. He probably will be in my big buy-in, but I'm flirting with the idea of doing something different, and I'll probably use him in the utility. And depending on how my early game guys go, I might switch him over to a guy like Peyton Watson, who they might end up giving the run to.
What are you looking at as far as the early game stuff? Like I have my top owned guys outside of Denver are Brogdon, Embiid, LeBron, Poole, and Davis, and that's not particularly earth shattering either.
Yeah.
Let's just. I guess we'll just start with the
Yeah.
with the Portland with the first two games. I guess Brogdon's got to be a good play, right? I mean,
I have no interest in Brogdon.
oh, okay.
I'm fading that game. That
Really?
game just screams blowout to me.
Oh, okay.
I prefer Cade Cunningham to Brogdon, so
Okay.
I'm going a different route with my thing. I think there's a much better chance that game stays close and it's sort of the same nut matchup. The problem is Brogdon could absolutely murder me by not playing him here. But you're talking about a guy who's just been injured, who's literally had a career riddled with injury, playing 33 minutes on the back-to-back. I'm honestly surprised that he's playing.
Yeah. I thought he'd be ruled out as well. But Neesmith is playing. I did see that.
Yeah. Neesmith is in.
That was another questionable one.
I'll just address a couple things. Scott, you're asking a question, but it's hard to know what you're referring to because the stream is on a delay. So it's if you say like is that the right way? I don't know what that means. So just if you could address whatever thing it is. And hey, Bangalore, good to see you, man. But there is no chance in the world I'm going to look at the Clippers Nuggets preseason box score. I think it's completely. I don't think there's anything I can learn from that. So I'm going to pass on that one. Anyway, so what else were you doing? What else were you thinking? Maybe do you have any other low-owned things that you might like?
I don't know. I mean, like Brogdon, Embiid, LeBron, Poole. Is Austin Reeves going to be not popular somehow?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be especially popular. He does sort of fit like a build like you'd kind of get to if you played a bunch of Denver guys, but I think he'll have some ownership. But I don't think he's going to be crazy popular. I prefer him over over Russell for what it's worth. I think they're pretty close.
I mean, needless to say, there's plenty of opportunity to late swap around this Denver stuff. You know what I mean? Like if things aren't going the way you want, just swap out a starter for a non-starter or something.
Right.
And let's say that they're starting DeAndre Jordan, then play the other one. Play who you say Nnaji?
Nnaji, he's 5,200. It's not like he's cheap and he's
no. I'm saying it's got to look like a bad play for me to play him. You know what
I mean? Oh, right, exactly. Yeah, he's something you could do with that, or Christian or Watson or Strother.
Right.
Those are the ones who I think you can use from that to get a little bit different. But it is like we've talked about this a number of times, like just about. One, there's always if there's 8 guys, we know that we have to play guys from that game because there's minutes. Here now you have minutes, but you also have a game that could potentially stay competitive, and you are missing your three of your 4 offensive players, and one of them is the best offensive player in basketball. So they're going to have to make up for a lot.
Well, let's ask this then. Would you consider playing going a little heavier on the Clippers?
So that's what my first build that I came up with was a mini 3-man Detroit Washington stack. Anybody can figure this build out if they want to try to do it. I put it in our premium channel, but the other one would be, and then playing 4 Nuggets with Harden for the rest of my lineups.
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. Looking at FanDuel, okay, so it's a little different from you over there, I guess. I have it's still Reggie Jackson and Michael Porter or whatever, but then the two Pelicans are like really dominating. Zion and Ingram. So I'm still getting lineups with like 4 Nuggets, 3, 4. Yeah, and it's still pretty much the same, and it's still Poole, Davis, but then Ingram and Zion, Healed again, John Collins. That's the other thing. I mean, we got to get updated ownership after all this shakes out, And we don't know what the ownership is really going to be until they have starters announced in the Nugget game.
Right.
So I guess we should think about it like slate by slate. So these 7:00 games, Washington, Poole, and what I haven't mentioned yet, as I'm just kind of like blasting through my ownerships, is Kuzma too much? Actually, I am getting Kuzma.
He's in my first build, that one that I was talking about with the mini stack of this game.
Yeah. And what about Ivy? You getting him?
Yeah, Ivy and Cunningham, and then I ran Kuzma on the other side of with my 5 guys from the late game.
That makes sense, but but you're not as into the Indiana Portland just because of the 10-point spread.
I don't think it's because of the point spread. It's because I can't fathom how they're actually going to keep this game close. I think this game, I really think Indiana is going to win by like 30 plus points. I'd actually be surprised if they win by less than 25. This is this is the fastest playing team in our history of our era, playing against the worst team in the NBA with the least talent. Now they have a few guys on offense that could hang you in there, but it's also a back-to-back for Portland on the road. It just feels like it screams like 25, 30 points.
Well, you want to take shots then with like Nembhard or Obi Toppin or guys that are going to be in there at the end somehow if the game blows out?
The Nembhard and I mean, I just think, what are we doing? You know?
Well, I don't know. Just trying to get different on it.
Yeah, but I think the right way to get different isn't to try to find value that does the game where you're missing, all your starters or three of your highest minute guys, all your highest production guys, except for Porter Jr.
Right.
So I personally, I think the better way to do it is to try to find the spend ups. I do think Kuzma is going to be a little bit overlooked. I think Zion's getting a little bit overlooked on DraftKings.
Okay.
I'm sure that's sort of like what I'm debating. I have room to play Zion. I think he's a better play than Kuzma, but I have the nice little stack if I play Kuzma. I'm trying to decide which one to go with. And before Nugget is going to be when it's on how my first guys do. If my first guy all busting, it's going to be like it'll be like two of Strother and Watson. If not, it'll be like DeAndre Jordan. The Michael Porter Jr., Reggie Jackson, and what's the other one? Justin Holiday, which I really think anything like on its own is a good fade. But if you're gonna stack, I would include him. So that's why I have the Harden on the run back. I sort of justified the play of him for doing that.
I mean, you could kind of screw around with rules like, don't play more than two of KCP, Reggie Jackson, and Holiday somehow. I mean,
I don't think anyone's going to play KCP.
Oh, really?
He doesn't. He has literally zero production increase. Actually, it's actually decreased, I believe. Yeah, his production, his fantasy point production from the early part of the day has gone down by like 3 points across all sites.
Just because he's not going to get the same easy looks because
and because there's potential blowout, I guess people figure too, and it's a back-to-back for him as well. Like, and he's older, so maybe they would play more of the young guys. I think that's sort of the thinking.
I mean, it certainly feels as though Jordan is like kind of something you're supposed to fade.
It is going back to the Clippers, though. They gave him some extra run against this former team. They love him in LA. He's like the guy who everybody thinks is like the nicest guy in the world. And he is. He is a really nice guy. Do I like Kessler with Markkanen out? I do like Walker Kessler a little bit. It's one of those plays that we're probably supposed to do more than we're going to do. So that's something you could do. Where is he being? Actually, his ownership though I thought was going to be really high, and actually it looks like it's kind of tapered with all this other stuff. Walker Kessler is a really good play. I think Jalen Duren is a really good play. I think Gafford has upside, but I like the idea of taking a shot with Kessler. Sure, at 5,500. If we just don't know about his minutes because he's coming off the injury, and you think they probably won't let him go past 30. But if he gets 30, that's plenty.
I'll tell you this: if that game stays close, like the Nugget game, Michael Porter Jr. is going to have like 70.
He really might, right? Or Reggie Jackson. This could be literally Reggie Jackson could score like 35 to 40 real life points.
Or Reggie Jackson.
But they have like other guys. That's the thing. Is that could this be like the coming out for Strother or the
that I don't mind actually.
Yeah, that kid is talented. They love him too.
And people were thinking of playing him in like earlier in this year. Didn't he like had a really good game to start off the season or something?
He was like one of the highest projected guys early in the first game of the season, because we just didn't know people were just guessing on minutes. So he ended up like 35% owned, and I think he played like 6 minutes.
Oh.
But he's got talent, and it is really weird that just the Justin Holiday part of this. Like, I think you're probably forcing things a little bit if you're playing Jordan and Holiday and like two other Nuggets with no run back. To me, I just think that it's extremely volatile. I would rather play Strother. I would rather play Peyton Watson. And I was trying to figure out some other things. I'm trying to dig a little deeper because it really does feel like a one-game slate. KCP will mostly guard Harden. Reggie Jackson will mostly guard Mann or Westbrook. Michael Porter Jr. will guard either Kawhi or Paul George. And then they're going to try and put Justin Holiday on the other one. I don't know. There's a chance that you could see some foul trouble early, and all of a sudden it's Peyton Watson's season. It could be Strother season. It really could be. I mean, it's really hard to know what they're going to do because we haven't seen the situation with them ever.
Yeah, depending on how many lineups you're playing, Miss Kenny. I mean, you don't have to play Poole. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not. Poole is never like really a must play, honestly.
Never. That's my thing with Poole sheets. I'm just going to treat him the way that I did before. When he's not owned at all, I'll take some shots. When he's owned, I'm just going to have zero interest. There's just no reason for me to play a guy who scores 30 real life points and has 30 fantasy points. Halliburton and Embiid. There's no negative correlation to Halliburton and Embiid. I don't think that's going to be like the weird thing. I don't like Halliburton. I'm not playing any Halliburton tonight, but neither is any. I guess people aren't going to. So yeah, you can play Halliburton and Embiid. You're talking about really thin value though, so you kind of need them to hit. Like Halliburton's, this is the worst projection he's had this season. I'm pretty sure, or no, sorry, the worst projection he's had since he got into above 10K. Excuse me. Obviously, it's a great matchup, but I guess if you factor Brogdon on the other side, maybe not as good. But yeah, you could do it. I think you could play Halliburton and Embiid. I think it's doable. But I don't see Halliburton as being like a much better play today than LeBron or Anthony Davis, and he's 1,200 more at a stronger position.
Are those good plays today, Davis and LeBron?
I don't love them either. I think they're fine. I think that's what people are going to do. They're going to mix in some LeBron, some AD. I'm purposefully trying to keep not spending 9K because I think people, when they see value when there hasn't been, they're like lust after it. You know what I mean? So I'm going for the Kuzmas and the Cunninghams and the Zions. That's what I'm doing.
North side, you like Kawhi better than the other ones?
I like Harden better. I'm having a hard time gauging Kawhi because literally he looks like a different player every game. Sometimes he looks like he just has no interest in playing offense. He only wants to play defense. And other times he just demands the ball every time. So it's very hard to tell. But since Harden's got there, he's only had one game, I believe, where he's been above 35 fantasy points for what it's worth. It's kind of a little concerning,
Yeah, I'm going to update the projections again, see what it looks like. I can't imagine them being much different, though. Because unless you have the Nuggets starters, and there's I shouldn't say unless there's a surprise, but I honestly don't even know who's starting there.
It's like what would people do if Nnaji was starting? Would they still play DeAndre Jordan? Probably, right?
Yeah.
I like the middle. I like some of the middle-ish stuff today, though. I really liked. I like Michael Porter Jr. the second I heard there was any question about what's his name, Aaron Gordon. But I think Cunningham may end up getting a little more overlooked than he was going to at the beginning of the day.
I think so.
Yeah, I just think he was going to have a little more love, but I'm not 100% on that. It is weird. It is weird, though. I sort of had the idea that everybody was going to play Brogdon today. Am I really playing James Harden over Brogdon?
Well, yeah, because now you get construction stuff like with the stack. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, and I can always shift if I need to do anything.
Yeah.
And Cunningham.
What do you think about those Pelicans you were saying before? I think Ingram is really, really cheap on FanDuel, I think.
Yeah, they're cheaper over there. I like Zion. He's my preferred one. I'm really struggling on this Kuzma versus Zion thing. And I think the right answer is is Zion. But I am probably going to play Kuzma to get the run back. And I think he's going to be currently projected to be lower owned than Zion, which kind of surprised me.
Who's supposed to be lower owned?
Kuzma. But actually, that makes sense. I may switch that one to Zion. I may just rebuild a little bit.
And then again, the later the better.
Yeah. But which value do you think has the most fragility? Both Jordan and Holiday, I would put as the highest. I would put as the high risk ones. So
which one's Jordan Holiday?
Yeah, we don't even know if DeAndre Jordan's starting. By the way, guys, tonight, it's not even impossible that on a back-to-back that he only plays 12 minutes and we don't even know that he has a ceiling thing. I mean, it's a minutes limit. Like, we don't know.
Yeah.
And what makes Holiday nice is, he can play minutes. He's done it for his whole career. He's a good defender, but he just does nothing offensive. He just literally will stand in the corner and you're hoping he makes 4 or 5 threes, gets a couple steals, something like that.
All right, I'm going to upload new projections here.
Why are Zion and Kuzma too pricey and Kawhi and Cade not too pricey? Kawhi, like I said, has been over 35 fantasy points one time in 10 games. That's an alarming number for a guy who's 8K. I don't care. Like, that's a really alarming thing. Harden, at least, he's 7,800, but at least we know like he's had the ball in his hands more. He's had more 40-foot fantasy point games. You know what I mean? He had 3 and 5. He would have had another one, but they blew out their last game. And I don't see why Cade. I just don't think Zion, Kuzma. I think all those guys are similar. I would put Kawhi as the bottom of those guys. I would only want to use Kawhi if I was playing at least 4 or 5 games. At least 4.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? Let's do something somewhat useful. Let me do a SaberSim build here with the new projections, and I'll show everybody what it looks like. Okay. So let me upload the new numbers, and we'll go over different things you can do. All right. So again, to answer people's questions, they always ask this. First of all, when I run a SaberSim build, like, what rules are you putting in? Today, I'm not doing any rules for now. And then I'm not limiting anything. I'm not changing anything. I'm just like launching the thing. And the default, for those of you who are versed in SaberSim, the default view is going to be SaberScore, which is kind of it's kind of an upside version of Optimal. It's not the same as a contest sim, but it's pretty good. It's what I've been using for years before these contest sim stuff came out. And I just want to see what we would get with no changes. Then what's going to be curious is how many nuggets are going to appear in these lineups. All right, so let's just see.
Yeah, I'm curious to see too.
Yeah. So, all right. So first of all, as far as straight ownership goes, you're getting in 50 lineups, you're getting 100% Reggie Jackson and Jordan. And then, the next highest owned is Justin Holiday, but then LeBron, followed by Poole, Embiid, Peyton Watson, Michael Porter Jr. Okay. As far as like team stacks go, let me just see something. So of 50 lineups, there are 5 of them that have 5 nuggets. Oh, it might be some have more. It doesn't even. There's not even a setting for 6. That's really funny. But as I'm scrolling through, I'm not getting 6 as much as I was before. So it's less. I'm getting like mostly 4, but there are some 3s as well, which seems a little bit more normal, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think you have to have a minimum. If I had a minimum set, I would only. If I was doing that, I would probably only set it at 2.
Oh, I'm not doing a minimum. That's what I'm saying. I just want to see what I get normally. And then one thing I'll do if you're going to play a bunch of lineups, I like to hit to change min uniques from 1 to 3, or as much as you feel comfortable with. I don't really need to have 100% of guys if I don't have to. I'll give up some. No, you can have 6, Clint. You can have 6 in one lineup. So another value guy that you might not have needed otherwise, but he's still a good play is Christie.
Yeah, I agree with it. I just think that it's weird, like, to try to use the value early, but I actually don't mind it. Like, I mean, it's just I prefer all the speculative stuff because all these guys have ceilings. I mean, Strawther, like, with all these, I know there was a blowout yesterday, but like Strawther and Peyton Watson got there yesterday, with Jokic and not with Gordon, but with Jokic. I think Watson is the preferred play for me over Holiday.
I like that.
We'll see. This is the 7 threes for Holiday night incoming.
Yeah, that's all. That is possible.
He's won me 6 figures a couple times. He's been on those lineups a couple times, but he's also I feel like every time he's been like the guy I needed to put up like 20 fantasy points and he put up 10.
Yeah.
too.
Let's. So the next thing I would do, guys, is I would run the contest sims to see if there's anything really different that shows up when I try to compare these to the field of lineups. Now again, the usual caveats. I mean, this is dependent. Like the effectiveness of what I'm doing right now is completely dependent on the effectiveness of the ownership projections, which are very, very fragile considering the late game. So you got to be very careful. But let me just see what it would look like. Yeah, I like the Watson play more than the Holiday play. I mean, I'll play them together also, obviously, but
yeah, and for what it's worth, I am going to put in a little Brogdon lineup just because I wanted to get a little less hearted. I don't want to lie to anybody, so I wanted to come clean with that one. I think I like the Strother idea too.
Strother?
Yeah.
Jordan, Jackson, Holiday, LeBron, Ivy, Christie. Yeah, I guess. This makes sense. Rank. Let's see what the alley-oop would look like.
God, this is so frustrating. My keyboard stopped working. It's like
What's that?
My keyboard's not working. It's driving me crazy.
I mean, I guess if you really wanted to get different, you would play a lot of early exposure. I mean, like,
yeah. Hey, there's certainly nothing wrong with that, by the way. Like, you have good games to choose from. I know that I think that game's going to blow out, but like, there's a chance it doesn't. It doesn't have to blow out.
Right.
Did you end up with any Keontae George?
I don't think so.
Something that was. I think there's something like I feel like there's something I'm supposed to do with Utah, but I can't figure out which of the pieces to go for. Like Clarkson, Horton Tucker, Sexton. They still have a ton of guys that play that can do stuff. Maybe it is just as simple as just maybe some kiss. I do think the Fontecchio is interesting.
Fontecchio?
Yeah, I think he's kind of interesting. Fontecchio, Holiday, second Holiday, shooting guard.
Jackson Porter. Actually, this is probably a little better.
And people are going to forget a little bit, like guys like Dyson Daniels, who we liked earlier.
Right.
That's sort of the guys I would sort of stick with, like on these kind of slates, like the plays we liked earlier today. And it just feels flimsy here with the Denver thing. I did cancel. I didn't put my bet in. I was officially taking Denver and just going to gamble on it, but I didn't put the bet in time. So I don't want to do it anymore.
Let's take a look and see what FanDuel looks like. I know if you have to go, you have to go, but I'm going to go
okay.
Build also.
I'm just building while I'm on right now, so I'll take a look if there's any questions or anything in a minute.
We'll go on at like 7:00 and talk about the showdown. But any thoughts on that game?
The
football game?
Not really strong. Like everything seems really like it's kind of weird to see the Bears as only 3-point underdogs, but I actually liked the Bears initially, so I guess I would give a slight edge to the Bears there, but they just sort of find a way to lose every time. So I don't know. maybe I shouldn't be as high there. It does. When I saw the line, it actually made me want to bet the Vikings because I thought they should have been favored by more. But I thought I was going to be like talking about the Bears +6 or +6.5 or something. And no, it's +3.
Got a big game next week. Eagles against the Niners. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Bigelow, if you feel like you want to try and play the Bones Highland thing, just because he played for the team, there's no like the revenge factor. Like he played for the other team, but they're at home. He is Clippers priority number 50. They don't give a damn about him at all. There's no room for him to play on the team whatsoever. So the only way Bones Highland is going to get run is in blowouts. That's as simple as that. They're not going to give him like regular minutes. He's not going to take away minutes from Westbrook. He's not going to take away minutes from Harden. He's not going to take away minutes from Kawhi George or Kawhi Leonard or Paul George. So there is almost no way he can actually play minutes unless the game is that massive a blowout. So if you want to do it, go ahead. But there's literally like you're just counting on a massive blowout for the Clippers. I think if you play.
It's kind of funny the history of Bones Highland. So just to recap, so when they traded him out of Denver, they made a comment that. Listen, we already have Michael Porter, who's like a me only player. We can't have more than one. It's like pretty kind of a savage, like backhanded compliment of Michael Porter, if you want to know the truth.
Well, he was hurting their team a lot, like with Jokic. I mean, they won the title without him.
Right, but to say, well, listen, we really like Michael Porter because we only allow one selfish player. You know? So they ship Highland out, and then Highland's okay. I finally got a shot, and then they brought in like Harden,
and Westbrook.
It's like.
They brought in Westbrook afterwards too. And it sucks. He was playing well at the beginning of the year. Hey, don't get me wrong. If he gets on the court, he can put up plenty of fantasy points. I'll tell you who wishes they had him tonight just for this one game would be Denver. You can play the all revenge slate tonight. That occurred to me. You've got Reggie Jackson, DeAndre Jordan, which are the obvious ones. But you could also go with. I had a list of these guys written out earlier. Shoot, what did I have? I've got to get it together. Oh, Malcolm Brogdon, going back to Indy. There was another one that was a big one that I can't remember who it was. Maybe that's the only ones I have. I thought I had one more. I guess not.
FanDuel, it really wants me to play like this the Zion and Ingram.
Yeah,
they must be like really super cheap over there.
Yeah. Yeah, they're like 1,000 cheaper. You know the crazy play that would be? Like, I understand the Bones Highland thing, like maybe if the game turns out, blah, blah, blah. But Westbrook might just go nuts tonight.
There you go. Now we're talking.
That's the get weird play of the night, I think, would be Westbrook.
That is definitely the late swap. That's definitely the late swap play.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you know what's great about it is you get to feel good about it, too. Because you know while he's out there, he's going to try and do everything he possibly can.
Yeah, right. You that's who you stack. You play Highland and Westbrook together. Yeah.
Yeah, you play the Bones and Westbrook. Then they combine for like 7.
And then you leave Reggie Jackson in too. Yeah, exactly.
All the point guards. All right. What else do we have here?
I guess that's all I have here. So just see FanDuel, I'm getting like 1 billion% Zion Williamson. Well, we could change that a little bit. See, what you could do again is I don't know if you guys are watching this, but if you really don't want to have like a big percentage of someone, a real good way to do that is to click the Min Uniques button because it's still getting you access to some good lineups. It's not like in order your best, but it does, it unconcentrates you a little bit, and it unconcentrates you without you doing too much, which is awesome. But still, Reggie Jackson, Zion Williamson, Buddy Hield over there as well. But let's see. Like you said, we don't even know who's starting over there. So be ready to change course.
Oh, my other super get weird play tonight, and look, these are just very thin plays that you look for on small slates that become really small because there's obvious value. Maybe there's a chance, and it's a high risk play all the time, but a small slate is where you'd want to make this play. They've clearly given the job, to Ivy. They want him to go and all that. Killian Hayes is like it's probably a reach, but it's a reach that I think you could like gamble on tonight because the matchup is so good. Like, and there's always blowout possibilities with both these teams. They're 2-14 each of these teams.
What if you get what do you get a late notice that Kevin Knox is starting?
Right. Yeah. No, that's probably probably something like that will happen.
So I'm going to get out of here. We'll come back at 7-ish.
Yep.
Is that okay? And we'll talk about football.
Perfect.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Have a good one, man.
Okay. Later.
Good luck, guys. I'll see you in the Discord.